Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first solo live episode of the Beyond Grad Show. Today, I'm going to talk about how to land interviews for six-figure roles. I have been writing on LinkedIn for the past 3 years, helping other job seekers. That has helped me build a community of 82,000 people. Some of them have come together and helped me. Some of them have joined me in a one-on-one group one-on-one coaching program, and that's where I help them land interviews, crack interviews, and get offers. So, what I'm sharing today, the flywheel strategy, has been used by my mentees to land roles at big tech and other top industries that the mentee was part of. So, without further ado, let's get going. So, today I want to talk about the flywheel strategy, and then I'll share exact strategies on how to use this strategy to help you land more interviews. Before I get into the content, if you are joining me live on LinkedIn or on YouTube, let me know in the comments which comments of that platform. So on LinkedIn, go to the comments, say, "Hi, I'm X from Y." Do that on YouTube as well. You can go in the comments and let me know. I'll be checking my chat window here. And if there are any questions that come up, I'm going to take those questions as well. Let me see. I'm just checking if there are any people live that I should kind of make sure that they are following along. Okay, I do see some people. So we'll get going. All right. So today, I want to help you land roles with the flywheel strategy. I think I've said that 3 times already. So I will stop saying that and just get into the content. So I have seen this internally within my program. And I also did a poll on LinkedIn asking people how they got their jobs in 2025. And is surprising that different people get interviews differently. So in that poll, I see that 40% of people who landed offers got their interview from going through a referral, whether it be through their online application portal or direct referrals where they either knew the hiring manager, somebody in the team, or the recruiter that got them into the interviewing pool. 38% people said that they applied cold online and landed interviews. And then 22% said that they landed interviews with different methods, like going to events or reaching out to recruiters directly. So you see that there are people landing interviews in multiple ways. So when I see on LinkedIn or other platforms, somebody preaching one way to land an interview, whether it is the online application way or the networking way, I kind of be like, okay, there are people who are landing roles different ways. You don't need to have a single strategy. Yes, you need to have a system that helps you apply online in different ways. So let's get into why I feel the flywheel strategy is the right for you. By the way, when I mentioned that a lot of mentees went on to get interviews at big tech and other top companies in their industry, these are a snapshot of the companies where my mentees landed interviews using this strategy. So, what is the flywheel approach? So, flywheel, that part or that term comes from my automotive world, where there is a flywheel attached to the engine. Now, the engine is producing sporadic power. If that power was directly given out to the car, your car would jerk their way towards forward motion. What flywheel does is that it takes power from these different cylinders in the engine, smooths it out so that you have a comfortable ride. The way I'm using this analogy with my mentees is that you can have instantaneous outputs in different methods, like applying online or going directly to hiring managers or going through your network. You can have different outputs. The flywheel strategies helps you smooth out that system, makes it more effective use for your job search. So in this flywheel approach, we are going to use three ways of trying to apply for jobs. One is building advocate type relationships. The other is direct outreach. And the third one is targeted online applications. But this is not arbitrary. Now, each potential way of getting an interview has different probabilities. You know that online applications have the lowest probability because of all the volume that is there in that game, including the AI applications that are happening in this world right now. So a lot of AI tools are actually applying for people for open roles, and then you get it's stuck in that system as well. So, depending on different probabilities, I have divided the flywheel strategy differently for my mentees. In most cases, it is 60% building advocate relationships, 20% direct outreach to hiring managers, and 20% targeted online applications. Now, if you are somebody who's very experienced, and or somebody who has a lot of social proof, like if you worked at top companies, what I would ask you to do is maybe change the 40%, the 60% build advocate relationships and get that down to 40%, and then increase the direct outreach. The reason why I say that is if you are going through a strong social proof, like a big name brand company that you worked at, or you have tons of experience for the exact role that the company is looking for, you can have a better conversion rate if you go directly to the hiring managers as compared to the longer tail method of going through advocate in the company. Both are applicable. Both are again still better than applying cold online. So let's talk about the first one, building advocate relationships. That's where I want you to spend 60% of your time. The way I say that is, let's say if it's a mentee who is looking to spend, let's say, 2 hours in their job search every day, take that 2 hours, divide it 60%, try to find advocates in your target companies. Now, how do you do that, right? So there are three people that you can go to. And let me skip that slide and come here first. So you can reach out to three different types of people. One, your first connections, likely they are in the target industry or the target role that you're looking for. Number two, people in target roles and target companies, like maybe people that you don't know, but you can get an introduction to through your first connections or through LinkedIn. And then the final would be moonshots. You can reach out to CEOs, VPs, directors, and literally pitch yourself in the connection, not for a job, but a way to kind of just build a relationship. So it's slightly different than directly reaching out to hiring managers. Now, somebody who is new to networking is always a little uncomfortable when it comes to reaching out. So, what I suggest them to do is reach out to your first connections, your friends, your past colleagues, your current peers. Take them out for coffee and learn how they made decisions in their career, how they are trying to get into their next company, or how did they get into this current company that they are in. So, a simple script that you can use is the one that I've highlighted here. Hi, your transition from your previous role to current position caught my attention. I'm exploring similar paths and would love to understand how you approached a specific decision or a challenge. Would you be open to a 15-minute conversation to talk about this? Very simple, straightforward, and respectful of their time. 15-minute conversation, not more. You are specific because you've researched them. You've shown that I want to talk about how you went from this position to this position, and I would love to ask you specific questions about that. That will help you get more yeses than nos. always start with your first connections. That gives you a little bit of comfort. They know you, so they will most likely say yes. That then helps you build that muscle of asking questions. 90% of the time that you are in this conversation should be time spent on them. How did they make career decisions? What they think is important on how to get into that company? What they think is important as the next version of this title in this industry? 90% should be focused on them. Invariably, 10% they will come back to you and say, okay, now tell me, what are your goals? That is the time you don't be mellow. You talk about what your exact career goals are and how you think that they can help you get there. Two things likely happen out of this conversation. Actually, there are three things. One is you had a conversation, but then nothing happens beyond that. You all go your separate ways. But the main two things that are the outcome of this conversation is one, they will refer you internally to those at their companies. So this is a what I call a low touch referral. So they are willing to kind of give you their referral ID or take your resume and put that in the internal referral portal. That is better than the online application game because as I recently spoke with a hiring manager called Sohan Sethi and many other hiring managers that I've talked to, internally, when you have a referral, your application gets flagged differently in their tracking software. So you get visibility with a recruiter or a hiring manager because you are tagged differently if you have a referral. So that is a good outcome to have. What is a better outcome is somebody who becomes an advocate. The difference is that this person is going to take your application and actually either physically or virtually walk this application over to the right hiring team or the hiring manager. This is great. This is somebody who can vouch for you, they trust you. And I will give you an example of a mentee of mine who was a student at a management degree in Rochester. I'm trying to kind of hide their exact identity. But what they found was they were able to build advocate relationships even with strangers. So sometimes first connections may not become advocates, which is okay. It is depending on their time, how much energy they have at that point. But then sometimes strangers can become advocates for you. They'll vouch for you. They'll know that they've talked to them, talked to you, so you have credibility in the process. So you don't know really where referrals and advocates come from. So that's how you use the first step, which is advocate relationships. You go and try to find these three types of people, look at first connections who are at target companies or in target roles, put them on a pedestal. What I call is mentor talks. Think of them as mentors and ask them how they made decisions in their career. The next, you can reach out to people in your target role and target company via LinkedIn. Know that there is going to be a difference in the conversion rate between how many people say yes. But I want you to think of this like a scientist. If you are applying to 100 roles and expecting two or three or five interviews or more, know that you have to put in that level of effort to reach out to people in the target industry. Only then can you compare apples to apples in terms of what is the right strategy for you. And then finally, don't hesitate reaching out to moonshots. You can reach out to CEOs, VPs, directors, especially if they are active on a LinkedIn like platform. You can build a relationship with them in the comment section, and then you can use that to go further in developing a relationship with them and seeing if they are willing to advocate for you at their company. Let me pause for a second to see if there are any questions right now. I know a lot of people are going to watch this on a recording and not live. but I still wanted to make sure. Okay, so far so good. All right, let's move on then. I think a lot of people will be viewing this as a recording. I know it's also a little uncomfortable for people who are looking for jobs to kind of go online on LinkedIn and then attend a session like this, but I'll move on. Okay, so the next step is whom should I, the next step, I'm sorry. So there might be potential questions for you. By the way, I will link to this document. I'll link to a place where you can access this document along with all my other best cheat sheets. And in that, there are some posts which help you answer questions that come up in your mind. How do I find people with influence? How to write good connection requests? How do I add value first in the relationship? There are ideas and strategies for each of those questions. Step number two is direct outreach to hiring managers. This is where I want you to spend 20% of your time. So, how do you reach out to people directly? You obviously have to use a platform like LinkedIn, but what you can do is you can do three things to get there. You can find active hirers, search relevant posts, and then direct message, irrespective of whether you know that company is hiring or not, and then reach out to that hiring manager if you have interest. And here's how I'll show you how to do that. So let's do number one and two on LinkedIn. So I'll open up LinkedIn here. You should be able to see my screen. Perfect. So what I will do is I'll go here in the search bar. Let's see if I can see it clearly. Yeah, maybe now. I'm going to go to the search bar and just hit enter. Here it will open up a advanced search page. I'm going to look for people. And if you have LinkedIn Premium, you can use this tab called actively hiring. And let's say I'm looking for product manager roles. I'm going to select for product manager, maybe senior product manager, depending on the level you are at. And I'm going to show results. Now, this will show people who are actively hiring, whether they are first connections or not. You can go and reach out to them, look at what they are hiring for, and reach out to them. You can also filter this further, so you can use first connections. I have one person, maybe you have 10 who might be hiring for this role. Sometimes what you can also do is you can uh, filter with location. So I'm going to say United States, show results. So there are a lot of people here still, and then maybe I go current companies. So maybe I just say Google or Netflix. You can use different filters to show who is actively hiring right now. So let's take this product person, James, for example. They are currently hiring for a senior product manager role at Google. And here are a couple open positions that they are hiring for. Immediately, you can see that, okay, this is a person who has raised their hands that they are hiring. You can reach out to them with a script that I will share here. So don't worry, I'm going to share the script with you. But what you can see is that this is one way to know who is actively hiring for your target role and have it be a person. So you're not really applying online, you're going directly to somebody who has raised their hands. What you can also do here is you can go back. I'll go back to search, hit enter. I'm going to go back to this one here. So I'm going to remove the actively hiring tab. I'm just going to clear all the filters for now. Okay. I'm going to say, I'm going to now look for posts. So instead of people, I'm going to look for posts. And then I'm going to say in this chat, hiring and product. So here's a Boolean search that I'm doing where you look into who's hiring for your target role. Once you hit enter, it will show you all the different posts that have been created by people who are hiring for these positions. Now you again can filter. So you can filter by the company, or you can filter, you can sort by latest positions. So show results for latest positions, date posted. You can even do date posted last 24 hours. So there's one here in Dubai. There is a production planner in Lancaster. Let's see if I can change to, and then let me reset this. So here now you start to see more roles. There is a senior technical product manager, United States. They are giving a salary range as well. A product risk manager at TikTok. So now you have this person that is said that they are hiring, another person who said they are hiring. Let me see. Product manager, Marina Del Rey, product manager, Dallas. You see, now you start to open more people who have created a post recently about hiring product managers for specific positions. Now you have again a person to reach out to kind of say, how do I apply? Hey, I'm the right fit for this position. I have applied online, but I also wanted to get in touch with you and say that I'm interested for this role. What you don't want to do is comment saying, I'm interested. That's not the best way to showcase your skills. So here I have a LinkedIn job outreach script for you. Let me go one by one to showcase what is happening in this script. So here I'm saying this will be a LinkedIn DM. Uh, Hi, I came across your hiring post on LinkedIn for particular job title at your company. I am name and I'm reaching out to you as I have X years of experience in the directly related field. So here you are sharing your level of experience in that field. So you are showing authority and applicability to the role. As a current title, I have delivered impact that matches your team needs. Here are three examples. So you're giving bullet number one, bullet number two, bullet number three. You are sharing a specific achievement with impact. And you can, this is your way of showing social proof that you not only know how to do the work, you've created impact and know how to communicate that impact. A really cool thing that I like to end with in posts like this, or sorry, messages like this, is to say, PS, no response necessary. If you already have strong candidates in your pipeline, wishing everyone involved the best. So here you are ending with a kind of abundance mentality that, hey, I know that I'm reaching out to you directly, but if you already have a pipeline, then so be it, just wishing everybody the best. If they don't have a pipeline yet, or if they find you impressive, they will bring you in. If I know two people in my program who have landed opportunities or interviews this way recently, where they have mentioned their years of experience, which are directly related to the job position, share specific significant impact, and that has helped them get interviews. Now, I have an example here as well. So, what does specific input or specific impact mean? So, let's take an example of a senior ML engineer. They are applying for an AI engineer at TechFlow, a random company. Look at the impact and how they are sharing. So, I built TensorFlow recommendation system that drove 34% user engagement boost, generating in 2.1 million additional revenue. A lot of things going on here, right? TensorFlow, they are telling them that they are applicable to the tools or frameworks that they are using, what they did, and how it generated this additional revenue. Let's take one more example to drive this point home. Led AWS SageMaker pipeline optimization that cut training costs by 50K annually. Again, they are sharing that they know the tools and frameworks that are used in this position. They have used them, they have experience with them, and here's the impact that they have driven. You're essentially showing authority, social proof, and confidence. Those are the key to landing a good outreach script. I do have a question in the chat here, so I'm going to take that on before I move on to the last and final part of this equation. So Ritvik says, life projection helps you implement the steps, and he appreciates the efforts. Great. I'm glad that people are seeing value here. Now, what I will share next is the final part of this equation, which is the targeted online applications. Now, before I move on to targeted online applications, I just want to make sure if people are watching, if you have any questions for me, let me know and I'll take them right now or near the end of this live session. If you're watching this as a recording, all cool. If you have a specific question, send me a DM or send me an email at varun@beyondgrad.com. Tell me that you watched this session. That will help me say that, okay, you have put in the effort, and that will help me see how I can best help you with your question that you have. All right, Ritik, as you're watching, if you have any specific question for me, happy to help. Cool. Again, to ask questions, you will have to put that question in the comment of the platform. So comment section of this LinkedIn event or comment section of this YouTube live event. All right. So finally, targeted online applications. Now we've covered how to build relationships and advocates at your target positions and target companies. That is the best way to get your foot in to the interview room. The next one is reaching out directly to hiring managers and recruiters. And then finally is targeted online applications. You will see in the poll that I shared at the top of this video that people do get interviews with online applications. We don't want to turn down the volume on it completely. I don't see any benefit of doing that. The only problem is when people over index on online applications because it is easy to do and it makes you feel productive. It does not, there is no level of discomfort there. And you're like, okay, I've done my work. Now let's see what happens. Whereas, as compared to reaching out directly, you have to find people, you have to send them a connection request. You know that they might ghost you. So there's some awkwardness, some discomfort there. And about advocate relationships, it is the top performers who put in the effort to make advocate relationships that see a lot of benefit in their career. It is work, it is longer, it is the premium way to get your target role in this job market or in any job market. For eons, top performers have found their way in amazing positions on the backs of the relationships that they have built. So don't over index on online applications, which is why this is the last thing in the day that you want to do. You want to make sure you are putting in efforts in the first two ways and then coming here. How do you get better at targeted online applications? You need strong resume that is created for these types of roles. You may or may not tailor for each available position out there. It's good to have like a master resume that is specific for a certain type of role, and then edit the specifics using ChatGPT or any other tool to help you tailor your resumes quickly, because I know that is a time suck as well. But the best practices that you can do is apply to roles early. A way to do that is if you go into search, if you go on LinkedIn, now you can go into the jobs section. And let's say again, I want to I want to go in here and I want to describe the role that I want, product manager. And let's say, I mean, you can let's change the job title just so we have some variety. So I'm going to say software engineer. All right. I'm going to try and find these guys are changing. LinkedIn is changing search quite a bit. So it's difficult. Sometimes you want to search for a specific location. So I'm going to say United States here. All right. Now you can say date posted past 24 hours. Here's a trick that you can use to kind of find a person who find a job. Sorry, I'm trying to hide this. Trying to find a job that has been posted in not 24 hours, but maybe in the last hour or 2 hour or so. The trick to do that is when you come here, you filter the jobs with 24 hours. In the search bar, you have to find the term. Sorry, this is going to be a long one, and I'm trying to find the TPR. So when you change this 86,400, which is seconds in the 24-hour clock, change it to, let's say, 3,600, then these are the positions that have been come up or posted in the last hour or so. What happened there? Okay, at least better results. I know there's something wonky going on with search, but what that does is that when you say 3,600, then it shows jobs that have been posted in the last 1 hour. Now, it could be that there isn't any in the last 1 hour. What you can always do is just continue to increase this timeline, and you will see different results based on what you have going on. So here's a full stack software engineer in the last 1 hour. Uh, I know that there are wonky results showing up right now, but I have tested this script. I want you to test this on your side as well to see if you are getting better results than the ones that I am seeing right now currently on LinkedIn. That's another way to kind of help you improve your odds at applying for jobs that are early and be an early applicant so you get visibility. Again, when I was interviewing a hiring manager recently, they said that they were applying for 5 roles. And for those 5 roles, they got 3,000 applications, or I don't remember the exact number, but thousands of applications in the first 2 days. And they just stopped taking more applications because they had enough resumes that they could apply for. Here's a question that I got right now in this chat. Thank you again for the cheat sheets. If someone works at the same company, but in a different country, can they still refer me for roles in the US? Getting a job in the US from a country outside the US is extremely difficult right now. And immigration has a lot to do with it because immediately you would need immigration to work in the US. So one way is people do come to the US from the same company using something called an L1 visa. So, yeah, there is a benefit of being in a multinational company and having presence in the US. And to answer that question, different country but same company can refer you for roles. Now, if you are saying that, okay, my manager in India, can they refer me to a role directly at a branch in the US? Well, it might depend on your company and whether they allow that to happen. But if not, there's still an opportunity. You can use your internal connections to build relationships in branches at different countries. So it might restrict you from directly applying right now, but if you build more relationships with those people, then definitely uh, get you can definitely start building those relationships and get referrals. Sometimes you might not even need to apply online, and you can be brought in directly in the interview loop. So hopefully that answers your question. Okay. So I think they've added context, right? Which is someone works at the same company but in a different country. Can they still refer me to roles in the US? I am in the US and my friends are managers in manager roles in India. Okay. I see. I think it's the same thing you're asking, which is you are in the US, you have friends at Amazon who are managers in India. Can they refer you to Amazon in the US? It might depend on the policies that Amazon have. They may or may not be able to refer you directly for a position internally or by giving you their referral ID, but they might have relationships in the US that you can get introductions to from the ones that they are working with. Let's say you have friends in India who are working with people in the US. Ask them if they would be willing to introduce you to the people in the US, build a relationship with them by doing the mentor talks, asking the people in the US how they made decisions in their career, and that will help you build those relationships and get a direct referral now that the relationship you have is in the same country as the uh, role that you're trying to apply for. Thank you for those questions. So if I go back, and please feel free to add questions as we go along. If I go back to our flywheel strategy, we have covered how to apply using advocate relationships, how to apply by direct outreach to hiring managers or recruiters who have signaled that they are hiring, and then how to do targeted online applications. One thing you can also do in targeted online applications is you can go directly to the careers page and you can set alerts for new positions for your target role. You can do that using Google Alerts. Feel free to use a AI chatbot to give you a prompt that will help you set that alert. And then the more Google will email you as soon as a new position opens up on that career page. So that's another way to do it. You can also go through different ATS systems or different tracking softwares. So Workday, can be one that you can use. Greenhouse is another. You can set alerts for jobs that come up on those sites because sometimes the company uses these tools to find people. Uh, and so that can be another way. So here I am just giving you ways to see how you can be early to target positions, even if you're applying online cold. Now, let's say you're on LinkedIn and you see a target role and there are hundreds of applications already. Should you not apply or should you apply? I would say go ahead and apply. You never know. They might have gotten a lot of resumes that are not the right fit, or they might be requiring sponsorship, or there might be so many things that can eliminate a lot of people in the pool. So go ahead and apply. Know that the chances of getting visibility are lower. So even if you're applying online, you want to try and be early in the application process. If not, then you can go ahead and do the direct outreach as one of the strategies. And the ultimate strategy is building referrals and advocate systems. So the reason why Flywheel works is that I have seen my mentees have a really hard time in the job market. And I can attest to it because I've been in the job market in the past as well. It is a very emotional process. If you get interviews and if you're just starting out and haven't really prepped for interviews, you stop applying and then you prep for the interview because it requires that time. But if the interview does not go forward, then you are picking up the momentum again with applying online. So I've seen this cycle of people not having a system to apply consistently for target roles. And beyond the system, a lot of people, my mentees included, over index on applying online, and that is the lowest probability. I won't say turn that tap off completely because you have seen poll results where people have gotten interviews. So don't close that tap completely, but make sure you are intentional about how much time you're spending. Okay, I have a question in the chat. I think it's a fun name, so I will be hiding their identity anyways. So the question is, hi, my background is in recruiting. I've been noticing that a lot of people are able to crack conversations through commenting on LinkedIn posts to create visibility and engagement. This all goes back to kind of the commenting can be used in both plan number one or step number one, building advocate relationships, and number two, which is reaching out to hiring managers directly. When you comment for any post, the creator of that post will notice it. Unless they are like really big creators who have outsourced their content creation for that specific platform to an internal team or an external agency. If they are not like the top creators, very high chances that they are noticing who is commenting. So you are adding value to them. I know I have 82,000 plus following on LinkedIn. I am the one still viewing the comments. So there's a great way to add a value in a relationship. So think of relationships like a bank account. You cannot make a withdrawal if you don't have deposits in a bank account. Otherwise, you'll be in an overdraft position. The same thing happens when you are asking for somebody's time. That is a big demand on them. So you want to make sure that you have built the relationship with them. And commenting is a great way to do that. You also tell the creator that, hey, I'm person who's in a similar industry or who is trying to get better at networking, so that creator can also go and check your profile. The more familiar your face is, the better the conversion rates. I've been able to comment my way and build relationships with YouTubers who have 1 million plus subscribers, CEOs of startups or other companies that I'm interested in or I feel are cool, all on the back of showing up in their posts, commenting by adding value and building that relationship. That slowly translates into a accepted connection request. It translates into you being able to ask questions in DM. It can eventually help you get on a call with them. And at different people will have different barriers for how much calls that they do. So know that even after commenting, there is a possibility that they don't react, but that is a great way to build relationships with people. And that can lead to advocate type relationships or reaching out to them when they have a job opening. All right, here's something else. It becomes helpful to follow people relevant to your skills, probably more senior. I would personally have 30 such people in my radar, keep track. This is perfect. Let me share an example of this. So, if I go on to LinkedIn, let me go to the homepage. I will hit here and I will say, I will go to people. Here I'm trying to find people in target roles at target companies. Actually, Let me search for my target company. Let's say it's Google. I recently wrote a post on this. In Google, you can go into the company page. You can go into people here. Once that opens up, you can go and write recruiter. In there, I can open up filter by United States. And then I have now a list of people who are recruiters there. I can always go to their profiles. I can even say something like YouTube here as a keyword, and that will filter things further. So on here, I'll go and check what their activity is like. Okay, Evan does not create. This is Sarah, some activity. Leah has some activity. Then that way, checking activities, I can add people in something that I call a custom feed. I know I'm moving around here and there, but if you are, let's say, in your target market, you already know people who are creating content. Another way to see people who are creating content is to go to posts and search for particular keywords. So let's say I will write Claude code, and I will see who comes up as creators who have written about Claude code. And that can be another way that I find people who are active on the platform and creating content around that keyword, or you can have multiple keywords in there. Now, what you can do next is you can create custom feeds. So, the way I'll give you an example of a custom feed that I have created. Let's see, how do I go there? Oh, I think it's my different browser, but I can create a custom feed right now. So let's say I want to search for posts and I want to create a custom feed. I will mention the members that I want to follow. Let's say I'm creating a custom feed that I have recruiters on here. So some of the recruiters I know, Marina is one, Nikki is another. I have Kevin. I have trying to think. There is an AWS guy, Stephen, maybe. I can get to that. Robin is one. Amy is another. Okay, I'll give one more and then we can move on. Bonnie is another. Bonnie Dilber. So these are all recruiting leaders. I will show results. Now I have a custom feed of people that are creating content and belong to a certain group. For me, the group is recruiters at companies. So this is Nikki, is a recruiter at Google. Now Bonnie is a recruiter at Zapier. Robin hires for Comcast, and then you'll see a lot more results. Like Amy hires for Microsoft. You start seeing these posts. What you can do is you can go into these posts, and some of them will have an insane number of comments, but you can always check when this person posts daily and be one of the first ones again in the comment section. That way, you can create a custom feed. Let's say this can also custom feed can look like the software engineers that create content, or YC founders who create content, and that can be yet another feed for you, and you can start building the relationship that way. So thanks for bringing that up. Or what was it, Snoop Dogg 123205. Yeah, appreciate that. I appreciate you bringing that up and allowing me an opportunity to share with everybody how I would search for posts and how I would put people in custom feeds. I wish I could show the custom feeds that I've created, but they are in a different browser. And I have another question, so I'm going to move on to that. So I have a question here, which is, what is the best tool you use to get through ATS, resume optimization? Swapna, I think it behooves us to understand what each of these things are. ATS is a tracking software. Now it does filter out resumes, but ultimately people are the ones who make the decisions. So recently I would urge you to check my conversation with Sohan Sethi, who recently hired for 5 roles, and he talks about the ATS as well. I do not think about the ATS. I know that is a counterintuitive statement, but let me share why. If you have a target position and you are applicable for that target position, create a really good resume. It will clear ATS systems. You don't need to have a resume that clear, oh, can I create a resume that clears ATS system? No. Think of your target position, think of how applicable you are. Create a really good resume that a reader can read. It has impact, it has tools that are applicable, it has a level of experience that is applicable, and you will naturally, organically clear through the ATS. People have done insane things to score high on ATS, like they'll have things on white font so that it does not see through and all of that stuff. It doesn't matter if you do that. You can clear the ATS, but you will still not be called for an interview if organically you do not have the right resume for that position. So, my ask to anybody who's creating a resume will be look at the top responsibilities, qualifications for the target position. Make sure you have that. Then take your experience and create an impact driven resume, and you will clear through every ATS that is. Another ways to kind of give your leg up in this tracking software is essentially getting a referral. If you have a referral in the company, you are flagged differently. It can be a in this case is a green flag, or not the exact color, but it's a good flag that you are flagged differently in the application tracking software as compared to online applications that have come cold. Another great way is to be an internal candidate for roles in the companies. Those get preferences as well. So I hope that answers the question. I do not think about how to clear tracking softwares. That's not the right way to go for it. Have a target position, create an organically good resume for that target position. Not only will you clear automatically or rank highly in the tracking software, you will be also readable, applicable, and remarkable for the person viewing the resume, and they will invite you for the interview. Awesome. Okay, Snoop Dogg is Rohit. Nice. Can completely understand your favorite artist, being that I had a friend who loved Eminem. He was very happy when I chose to go to Michigan, Detroit, near Detroit, Michigan, because for my schooling, because he was so excited because I was going to the land of Eminem. So I can understand um, the energy behind somebody who loves rap. I was a rock fan, by the way, Metallica. One of the big reasons why I chose US over Germany was my ability to see rock bands that I really like. So I've gone to Linkin Park, I've gone to Metallica, and my next one, I'm hoping to get to Pearl Jam one of these days. All right, next question. How about getting attention from the recruiter? What are the strategies? Uh, exact strategy that I've shared today is one, you can always try to build relationships with them. So by commenting on their post, if they are hiring somebody, if you are not the right person, then recommending a person who might be fit for their roles. See how you can add value. It is easier to add value to people who create content because you can always show up in the comment section. If they do not create content, you might have to build a relationship through other warm filters. The warm filter can be the alumni, or you've gone to the same school. Warm filter can be a warm introduction from a mutual connection that you know. You basically need warmth. The more cold you are to a person, the less likely you will get attention from them. So it all comes back to the flywheel that we talked about, is first try to find a way to build a relationship with them. If that is not possible, then you can reach out to them directly with a specific script showcasing how you are fit to any open positions that they have. You can always engage with their posts. And then finally, if you can't do that, then the chances of you building a relationship with them or getting attention from them is by building an external brand. So a lot of people right now create content. I do as well, and I've been able to then that helps recruiters reach out to me. Now I am not talking specifically about the niche that I was working in. I was an automotive engineer. If I had created content around automotive engineering, that would get me attention from other recruiters. Or if I was a software engineer, even if I was in the automotive industry, if I was writing more about software engineering, then I would get attention from recruiters who are hiring for those kinds of roles. So, hope that answers the question. To summarize, build a relationship with them through warm filters. That's not possible. Comment and build a relationship with them on a platform that they are active on. If they are not active on it, then you can build an external brand, and that will get your attention from the recruiter. If you don't have that, then the chances of getting attention are really low. I hope that helps answering that question. Awesome. Thank you for great questions so far. If you have any other questions, please put them in the chat. What I will do now is conclude what we were talking about here, which is the flywheel. So, the flywheel gives you momentum through consistency. The more it gives you a system to fall back on if you get wavered in your job search. It gives you a system that gives you the maximum probability of getting you in an interview room. Again, this is the exact system that has been used by my mentees to get interviews at Meta, Google, and all these other places. If you want my best cheat sheets, and if you want my best cheat sheets, which are available for free, you can go to my website, beyondgrad.com, to download those. You have to sign in with your email address. Don't forget to confirm your email. I don't want bots downloading, getting access to the Google Drive. So that's why I have kept the confirmation step. Once you are confirmed, you will get access to a neat Google Drive with all the resources. I do work one on one with a specific type of person. If that person is you, or if you want to talk more, you can always DM me on LinkedIn and say unstuck, or say that, hey, I was part of your live session. You can also go to beyondgrad.com/job-leap, job leap. Once you go to my website, you can see that page as well, and you can apply there too. So those are some ways that I help people. I'm going to see one final time if there are any other questions. Okay. Swapna says, thank you. Appreciate that. Hope that is helpful. I know that I cut through and give you some direct answers, especially with the ATS question and the relationship question. But my hope is that by giving you the reality of the situation, I help you take the appropriate next step that you want to take here. Finally, I think another message from Rohit. Um, yeah, relationship building again. What do you do there? You basically are trying to add value, put deposits into the relationship, and then if you need a withdrawal down the line, that is easier for you to do that. So get started today. I think one thing I would say is you can download the cheat sheet by signing up, but I want you to think about this flywheel as a way to kind of apply and get the target interviews that you are looking for. Don't over index on any one of these strategies. If you are going to over index on any strategy, I would rather you over index on building relationships. The caveat there is know that it takes, sometimes it takes longer. Obviously, there is luck involved in everything in the job search. Building relationships is a more a longer term process. So if you have time, I would invest a lot of time there. Direct outreach is more simpler. You can have a script if you are applicable for the role and you are able to showcase your impact appropriately. Then if somebody has raised their hand and said that they are hiring for this role, reach out to them directly. You never know how that can convert. It converts well, it converts better than an online application. If you are doing online applications, make sure, try to see if you're early, try to have really strong marketing materials, and know that you don't want to over index, especially on this part of the flywheel. Those are all the questions. Those are all the strategies I wanted to share with you all today. Thank you so much for whoever joined online or is watching this at a later time as a recording. I am excited to do more of these sessions down the line. So if you're interested, get on board in the Beyond Grad community by downloading these spreadsheets, signing up with your email, and you'll know as and when I have more of these sessions. Thank you so much for being here with me, and I hope this was helpful.